That's what I heard. Really?
15 bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to a windy day in the Methow Valley. I think we can all be thankful that it's windy and not scorchingly hot. Annie and I are thrilled that you came here to be with us today. I'd like to give you a big welcome to the town of Twisp and to our home. And I think I can speak for Nick and Molly in welcoming you to the place they now call home. You may have noticed Laura and Jenny lighting a lamp on the table here. The flame honors those people that didn't live to see this day, but would have loved to have been here. Nick's Uncle Bob and his grandparents, Bud and Eva, and Herbert and Maxine, and Molly's grandparents, Jack and Dorothy, and Grandpa Gail Filer. I feel especially grateful that my mother is here, Molly's Grammy Carol. She told me recently that this was a really important day for her. The presence of the other grandparents can be seen in many of our faces. We know that you've come here out of your love and affection for Molly and Nick on this very special day in their lives. This ceremony is a time-honored tradition that we share with peoples and cultures from all over the world, where different languages are spoken Unique traditional clothing is worn, and the basic marriage celebration takes many different forms. But these ceremonies all address the desire to celebrate the human family and the marriage of two people. I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase, "It takes a village." All of you here have been that village for Molly and Nick. In their lives as they grew up, in your help with the preparation for today, and now with your presence at this joyful celebration as they merge their lives. Today's ceremony, in the company of those who mean the most to Nick and Molly, marks their entry into one of life's great and rousing adventures, the adventure of marriage. I'm glad you laughed. I needed that. This is a journey that requires commitment. And with that commitment will come great reward, deep spiritual reward. Some of that reward will be spoken, and much of it will be unspoken. It will take time for the unspoken rewards to come, but they will in time. And when they do, they'll be rich with meaning. I'd like to acknowledge how thrilled Annie and I are that Molly and Nick teaming up means that the Filers and the Crimps now have intertwining lives. Herb and I speak the same language as two longtime tradesmen. Jan and Annie are becoming fast friends. But one of the very special aspects of our families coming together is that Molly will now have two sisters and two brothers, in Laura and Garrett and Jenny and Will. All of these relationships will surely blossom in the years ahead, and Annie and I look very much forward to that. Molly and Nick have selected a passage from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and Nick's good friend Nathan will now share it with us.
Everybody. Let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together, and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone, even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grow not in each other's shadow.
Thank you, Nathan. There's a wonderful American folk song called the Roseville Fair. In this song is a line that captured my imagination the first time I heard it. It's a love song where a young couple meet and fall in love at the Roseville Fair. As they're dancing to the music of the fiddle and the banjo, the young man looks down into the eyes of his new friend, and the lyric goes like this. With a single smile, you became my world. Nick and Molly waited a long time to find each other, and when they did, the world became new again. That's when they began their journey that brings us together today. I once told Molly, at a time when she was discouraged with the dating scene and difficulty of finding love, that if she was patient and bided her time, she would find her guy.
It's true.
And it would be worth it. And it would be worth it. We all agree Nick was certainly worth waiting for. And now this is a very rare opportunity, and I can't pass it up, to tell my daughter I told you so, sweetie. I got to share something with you. When we were first planning this ceremony, I asked Molly and Nick what they would like in the ceremony, and Nick said he wanted there to be laughter, and Molly said she wanted there to be tears. So here we are. So I'd like to share with you the only real fear I've had in my life. This fear started when Molly was very little. I feared that something might happen to me, and that I wouldn't be there for Molly as she went through the challenges of growing up. When my father, Molly's grandfather, passed away suddenly when Molly was a 10 or 11-year-old, this fear became more real. I can say with great happiness that on this day, those fears are banished. Nick, I know that you'll always be there for Molly through the carefree times and the challenging ones, and that my job from this day forward is for Dad to just relax. Nick, I can scarcely describe how much that means to me.
Our culture tends to think about love as infatuation and passion, which is often where it starts. But what comes next? What else is there?
Molly and I both took a class on couples counseling while studying psychology. We learned that our society often ignores the journey that successful relationships must take to survive their earliest seasons. In other words, there aren't many popular love songs about learning through trial and error how to work with your partner to overcome challenges. And there aren't many romantic movies about getting to know your partner on a deep level and then truly accepting them for who they are.
Since we started dating, we've graduated from a master's program, gone through significant career transitions, lived through a pandemic together, worked from home in a one-bedroom apartment for over a year, and moved across the state. While parts of this journey have been daunting, they've also offered us opportunities to grow together. We've learned about each other's differences and navigated conflicts. We've had to practice seeing and learning to accept the less desirable parts of each other.
We've also laughed a ton, gotten closer with each other's friends and families, traveled to some of our favorite spots in the Pacific Northwest, gone on hundreds of walks together, supported each other's creative pursuits, and dreamed about our futures, individually and collectively.
When we think about what love means for us moving forward, we acknowledge that it will include both the romantic, idyllic, delightful parts of life, and the hard days, the self-doubt, the mistakes, and the messiness. Instead of looking at the latter part as something wrong, we choose to acknowledge that these things are just as real as romance and happiness.
Nick and Molly's wedding rings were handcrafted by an artist up the Twisp River, and they're each significant in their own way. Nick grew up around the inland waters of Seattle, and on his ring are waves, representing the water, and the sun, representing a sunset over Puget Sound. Molly grew up here in the Methow Valley, and on her ring, the mountain peaks of the Sawtooth Wilderness, which rise to the west, are represented, with the moon and the stars that you see on a crystal clear night over the North Cascades. Molly and Nick, are you ready to give and receive your rings?
Yes.
Yes.
That was emphatic.
I'm ready. Molly, I give you this ring with all my love.
Nick, I give you this ring with all my love.
I mentioned earlier how marriage celebrations are unique to each culture. Nick discovered a tradition from the north of Europe that he and Molly would like to share with you. It's called the hand fasting ceremony. This hand fasting is a Celtic and a Nordic tradition that goes back as much as 7,000 BC and symbolizes the binding together of two lives. We have three separate types of rope. A mountain climbing rope, representing Molly's connections with the mountains she knows so well. A nautical rope, representing Nick and his family's deep connection to the salty waters of Puget Sound. And a green graduation rope, representing where Molly and Nick met at Antioch University. This hand fasting tradition is where the term tie the knot comes from, and you'll see why in a moment.
I, Nick, take you, Molly, to be my wife. I promise to laugh with you and to support you in times of sorrow and struggle. I promise to love you when it comes easily and when it takes effort. I promise to nurture your dreams and share mine with you. I choose you as my partner, my cat mom, and the person with whom I will grow through all the seasons of life.
I, Molly, take you, Nick, to be my husband. I promise to laugh with you and to support you in times of sorrow and struggle. I promise to love you when it comes easily and when it takes effort. I promise to nurture your dreams and share mine with you. I choose you as my partner, my cat dad, and the person with whom I will grow through all the seasons of life.
Oh.
I'd like to acknowledge how honored I was when Nick and Molly asked me to officiate their wedding. I'm a greenhorn. This is my first one. But it's been a real privilege, one of the great privileges of my life. Now, it makes me very happy to perform my most important role here today as an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church. Molly and Nick, I now pronounce you wife and husband. Nick, you may kiss the bride.